From a moment, and finally the time is now to shine.
Hey, what's up? Friends, family, frenemies, enemies, foes, how you doing out there? For those of you who don't know, I am that man that goes by the name of Clyde Rush. This is the Light Body Podcast. Okay, welcome to the show. In this video today, I'm going over part two of what we were talking about before as far as the dark room. Part two, as far as the dark room. I'm just going to do a quick review of what the dark room is all about. Hopefully everybody's doing well. I trust that you're doing well. You made it to the show. Thank you for showing up. Peace, blessings, prosperity to each and every single one of you for taking some time out to come and spend a little bit of time on this show. I'm making sure that I give you content that's going to be edifying, content that can actually impact and transform your life in one way or another. And if it's not good enough for you, make sure you send it to somebody else. Don't forget to like. I got to start saying this now. Don't forget to like, put a comment down here, and subscribe. Like, comment, and subscribe. And this way I can make sure that you're always getting the most up-to-date information that comes on here. I may be inspired one moment to put something on here because of something that actually resonated with me. And I just want to make sure you get the content in the right time, okay? So again, like I said, this is part two of the dark room, okay? So in the very beginning, we were talking about it being the process of grounding in spirit. This is actually grounded in spiritual and alchemical concepts. It's aimed to align your inner transformation with your natural gifts, talents, skills, and abilities, allowing you to serve the world effectively. And I have five quick things that I was talking about that I think is really important as far as what happens when you go into what I was considering the dark room, that part where you're actually in seed form. And in seed form, just like a tree or just like anything else, that you have to plant it into the ground first, and it goes into that dark space. And we're talking about the transformation. So we were talking about 5 key steps. The first one was shifting the identity. I gave you a metaphor, I gave you a process and an outcome. And that's the way it is for each one of these 3. I think I have a few more. I'm just going to repeat this real quick. Shifting the identity is 1. Dominate is 2, where we're growing strong roots. 3 is replenish. And when we finish talking about 3, we're going into right now, we're going into 3. So here we go without further ado, because time goes by so fast when these things are coming up and you think that you have more time than you do, but you really don't. So without all of that filler stuff, I'm just going to jump right into it and just start giving you the process of what it is. I'm going to talk about what the word actually is. I'm going to give you a metaphor. I'm going to give you a process, and I'm also going to give you an outcome. All right. And that's for each one of them. So there's 1, 2, 3. Right now we're up to replenish. All right. And as far as replenish, we're talking about absorbing the proper nutrients, because again, you're still in that dark room. There's a process to be developed when we're in that dark room. We often go through trials, tribulations, circumstances. Sometimes these things they come to us in a way that we're really not comfortable, and they challenge us to be something greater than when we first went. Remember, we're going through a transformation, and we're going to be challenged to become something different. So since we're being challenged to become something different, there's a process of becoming. And when you go through that process of becoming, there's a shedding off of who it is that you used to be so that you can become something greater. And the something greater is to serve in a capacity based on your talents, your skills, your abilities, your purpose, the thing that you do this effortless. But just like there are different stages and different levels, we grow from one level to the next level to the next level. This is no different. So right now we're talking about replenishing, okay? We're talking about absorbing nutrients. The metaphor is plain and simple. Roots absorb nutrients. Similarly, they replenish your spirit and your mind. I'll say it again. Roots absorb nutrients. Similarly, replenish your spirit and your mind. Here's the process. Engage in activities that nourish your soul and expand your mind. This could include learning new skills, spiritual practices, or simply enjoying nature and art. The calmness, the simplicity, the reading, the stillness, learning something new. All of that is the process. Now, here's the deal. If you're a book publisher, or if you're a book writer, or if you're a songwriter, or if you're a business person, no matter who it is, no matter what your walk or talk is, the bottom line is this. Who you are today, you had to go through a process to become that person. More often than not, the person who you had to become, nobody happened to see. That's the dark room experience. There was nobody clapping their hands and cheering you on. Go, go, go. Let's make it happen. I'm talking about burning that midnight oil when you were sitting there studying to get better at what the thing is that you were doing, that you're so proficient at today that nobody can tell you anything about it because it's you and you are it, and there's no separation between the two. That's what happens when first it gets you, then you get it, then you come together as one. And it's just like a thought. It's the simplest thing for you to do. And it doesn't make a difference if you're the person that's hemming a hem on a dress or pair of pants, or if you're the person that's designing as an architect, the building and structure for some of these tallest buildings that's in this world that we live in. It doesn't make a difference what your thing is that it's a natural order for you. It's called flow. And when you get into that flow, it's the essence of who it is that you are, like the signature for you actually being here, the frequency that you resonate on. And frequency is another word for information. Vibration, that feeling that you have. You turn on, you just turn on, boom, it keeps you up at night and it wakes you up in the morning. You just turn on fire for it. So we want to make sure that we keep that replenished. And the outcome of that same thing is to be a rejuvenated spirit, like I'm talking about right now, and an enhanced mind, leading you to more and a balanced, fuller expression of your life. Now, here's the thing with all of this, right? It doesn't matter how many books you read. It doesn't matter whether or not you're a professor in some institution or of learning or whatever capacities you may be serving in. The key thing is, how are you serving? It says the greatest amongst you will be a servant. So who are you serving? It doesn't make a difference how much information you have, unless you're just a philosopher. And if you're a philosopher, that's fine. We'll have something that's another step that's called Pema, where you become the philosopher, you become the initiate, you become the master, and then you become the alchemist. All right. You become the philosopher first, you become the initiate, the master, and then you become the alchemist. That's the whole process for that Pema. So it's all right for the philosophy, but that's the next part. What's the next part? What's the next part? What's the next part? And what's the next part? To continue on. All right. So it does good, but if you're not serving somebody else with what it is that you have, you're just a container. We want to empty that container and refuel it again, or we want to keep it overflowing, even better. So as long as we keep it overflowing, that means more is coming in. More is coming in, more is coming in, and just as much is coming in as going out. So you're constantly learning. It's not that you can't never learn anything new, but when you start talking about, I know, it means you cut yourself off from learning. So when people start telling me, I know, I say, all right, why would I bother to say anything if you already noticed? That means you should already be implementing the strategies, concepts, and ideas, and your life should be reflecting it. Okay, so we understand this one. I'll say replenish again. Replenish, absorb nutrients. Okay, the metaphor is simply, roots absorb nutrients. Similarly, replenish your spirit and your mind. How? The process engage in activities that nourish your soul and expand your mind. This could include learning new skills, spiritual practices, or simply being in nature, or observing a piece of art. Those are the ways that you kind of expand your mind just a bit and replenish the soul also. The outcome is a rejuvenated spirit, an enriched mind, and a more balanced and fulfilling life. We're going to move right on to the next one because I just got to be conscious of this time because I could be here forever. However, subdue. Step number 4, the pruning process. This step right here, I've gone through it. You've gone through it. I didn't like it. I know you didn't like it because we don't like that feeling of pruning. Think about it. I don't know if you don't have to be a plant person, but if you ever had a plant and you see those leaves start to shrivel up and die off, it's a natural process. All right, it happens. Sometimes now there's a process that we actually go through when the time is actually coming to grow. I don't know if you've ever heard this or not, but it's been said that if you want a tree to actually grow, you got to hit the trunk of the tree. And the trunk of the tree will think that it's in stress and it'll inevitably start to expand itself and grow out. That's interesting. A very interesting process, but I'm just letting you know like this. I'm not saying that somebody has to come up and hit you or anything along those lines, because I'm not condoning any type of violence or anything along those lines. But what I am saying is that we have these trauma situations and circumstances that come on us and make us feel like we just got smacked. We just got punched, or we feel it in the heart. And then we ask the question, why did you do this? Well, here's the question. Why did you allow it to happen? Why did you allow it to happen? And more often than not, when we allow things to happen, it's because, one, we don't value who it is that we are. We don't see how worthy we really are. So we subject ourselves to being with people, places, and in things that don't have our best interest at heart. Why? Can you imagine this? Because we don't have our best interest at heart. And I'm just, listen, this is just it. I went through it myself, still am growing through it. You will get to the place where you're going to grow through stuff. Not that you sit back and you look for adversity or challenges or confrontations, but you understand when they show up, that they're showing up to show you something about you. We're going to call it work. So when the work comes to serve two processes. One, to get something done by you. One is to get something done in you. So it's either being worked on or worked from. The choice is yours, all right? Either way, it serves a purpose. So let's take a look at what this subduing and pruning process actually is. The metaphor is just as gardeners prune plants. They remove unnecessary elements from your life, all right? That's the pruning process. Just as a gardener prunes plants to remove unnecessarily elements from that plant, is the same way that things actually come upon you. We call it work, to remove those things that no longer serve you in your life. Process, just identify this. And we got to let go of some habits, some relationships, some thoughts that hinder our growth. Practice mindfulness to remain focused on what truly matters. People, places, things, situations, circumstances. We focus on those things. We believe those things validate us. We believe that those things are us, only to find out that the further this thing away from us. We call them distractions. You want to write a book, but you got this event or that event to go to, and you don't want them to think that you're not with them, so you end up going with them when you know that you have other things that you need to take care of. Are you prioritizing what you need to do? Or are you prioritizing what they want? We call it people pleasing. People pleasing. When you're on your journey of discovery to be the best version of yourself, and you're out there trying to please people at the cost of you not becoming the best version of yourself, that's on you. That's on you. Really, it's on you. People pleasing. You're still looking for somebody else to validate you before you validate yourself. You're still looking for somebody else to say you're worthy before you realize how worthy you really are. You're still looking for somebody to say, oh yeah, you're good, without you realizing you're enough just as you stand. Some people, some places, you got to cut them off. You got to say no. Listen, I'm working on something right now. And if they truly love you, if they truly respect you, if they truly honor and, recognize that you're doing something, they'll support you. And they will not judge you. But if they're judging you and they're not supporting you and they're making you try to feel bad because you couldn't make the event or go to this particular place or whatever the situation or circumstance is, I said, you're in the pruning process. Guess what? You get to do. I said, you get to do it. You don't have to, but you get to do this. You get to cut them off. I know that's kind of hard. And I listen, like I said, we all grow through it. We have an opportunity to grow through these things. The choice is yours. We're in the dark room, the discovery about who we truly are. We're working the negative aspects and turning that negative aspect into the image that we see in our mind's eye. That's the whole process of being in this dark room. There's nobody cheering you on down there. There's nobody sitting there giving you accolades because you did this or you did that. You're in the dampest part of your life, underneath the stuff, in the dark place where there's no light besides the heart that you actually have, which is the illuminance of the desire that you have in your mind's eye that you're growing through. I'll reiterate that again. We're talking about the pruning process. Just as a gardener prunes plants, we get to remove through this process unnecessary elements from your life. The process is to identify and let go of habits, relationships, thoughts that hinder your growth. Practice mindfulness to remain focused on what truly matters. That's what you get to do. Here's the outcome. A little more aligned. Your life is a little more aligned. Your core values and purpose are free from clutter and non-essentials. This is what this pruning process is. Sometimes the pruning process is identified as a trial, a situation, a circumstance, and more often than not, it's not comfortable. Why? Because we've grown accustomed to being in that environment for an extended period of time, so much to the point that we've become void of feeling the discomfort of it. And we allow it to continuously go on so much that we end up participating in it. So we participate in our own demise and we blame somebody else. But meanwhile, while we got one finger pointed out, we got three fingers pointed right back at us. Because at the end of the day, it's us. No is a complete sentence. No, I'm not going. No, I'm not going to be able to make it. No, I don't need you in my life. No, you can't come to my house, period. And be okay with that. And no, here's the reason why, right? I don't know. Let's say you got a whole bunch of people in your house and you're waiting for one person to come and your house is at maximum capacity. And the one person that you need to have in your life that can radically transform your life can't get in because your house is packed up with a whole bunch of people, places, and junk and things that no longer serve you. Hoarding. Can you imagine this? We got so much junk and clutter going on in our life. Oh, you thought I was talking about furniture. I'm talking about in your mind. Oh, I'm talking about the clutter inside your head. Those limiting beliefs, doubts, fears, resistance, turbulence, cognitive dissonance. Your house here. I'm not talking about the house that you live in. I'm talking about the house up in this place, right up in your head. All that clutter, past thoughts, thinking about stuff, ruminating over it again and again and again to no resolve. Your brain is a problem-solving operating system up here. And you're trying to figure out why somebody did this to you 15, 20 years ago. They don't forget who you are. And you sitting here ruminating. Why? Why are you doing that? Why? What's the benefit of that? Trying to solve something, trying to get the resolve of something that happened 15 years. You've been doing it so long, it becomes part of your personality. Not your identity, but it's part of your personality. Your personal reality is your personality. So why are you sitting here wasting time, energy on something that happened 10, 15 years ago? I don't care if it happened. I don't care if it happened 5 minutes ago. Does it serve you? That's what this whole pruning process is all about. Your outcome, life more aligned with your core values and purpose, free from the clutter of non-essentials. All right. Now, let's take it to the external house that you live in. If you got a lot of junk around your house, a lot of clutter, there's energy in that stuff. There's energy in pictures that you have up, past relationships, past things, past people. You need to get rid of that. I ain't gonna tell you what you need to do. It's time to get rid of that stuff. You want to talk about being something new? How can you be something new when it's a constant reminder of who you were? You can't even give yourself the opportunity to allow yourself to become someone new, let alone what somebody else is saying. There's enough people out there trying to keep and remind you. Remember when you used to, and you ain't never going to be. Listen, what I'm saying to you is this. The pruning process is real. It serves a purpose for your life to become the best version of who it is that you are as you elevate We call that elevation and separation. And it's not that so much that you're better than anybody else. It's just that where you were on this level, it doesn't serve you. What was happening here is not going to get you here. All right. So it's going to require a different mindset. Einstein said the same mentality, the same level of consciousness that created a problem is not the same level of consciousness that's going to solve the problem. The same thing that got you here is not going to be the same thing that's going to get you here. What got you here has served its purpose already. And as a matter of fact, when you're in that growing stage, like what it is that we're talking about right here, and we only have one more to do, and then I think I'll be done with this, and I'll do a quick review, and then I'll move on to the next thing. When we're in that growing stage, right, and we're in the process of transformation, there's a natural order to transformation. One of the things about transformation is the seed that went into the ground, the seed that's inside you, is no longer what it was when it first started. It has to go through a transformation process. That's what this whole thing is all about. If you think I'm talking about the dark room or some room, then you missed it. We got to listen to it again. I'm not going to tell you. I want you to listen to it again. And then you'll find out where your dark room actually is. If you think I'm talking about just dropping something in the ground, where is the ground? All right. And if you have these questions, put it in the comment and I'll clarify it for you specifically. All right. Just if you got questions about what it is that I'm talking about, when I'm talking about what the dark room actually is and the metaphors that we're speaking about, the outcomes that we're talking about and what these things are related to, put a comment down and I'll clarify it for you. But right now we're still talking about pruning. And once we finish doing this pruning process, I'll go to this next part, the desire fulfillment. That's the blossoming. All right. At the same point when we're growing through our stuff and you're in the mess that you're in, stand there. Because there's a transformation that's happening. The seed is no longer the seed. The seed has to stop being the seed and become the information in the seed. What information is in you? What information is in you to become something greater than you were? And guess what? You get to do that every single day that you wake up. Renew your mind daily. Old things have passed away. You're a new creation. Each time you wake up, you're new. You put on yesterday again. You put on the things you've experienced yesterday again. We just spoke about a pruning process. Why are you putting on yesterday again? Yesterday's gone. Now isn't even here. Now is past. You can't catch up to now right now because now is gone. Present is gone. It's not present now. Now is gone. Okay, so all you can do is be here and keep going and keep growing and keep going through it. Grow up. All right. Just like a seed is in the ground. And that seed, because we're at the blossoming stage right now. So let's go into the definition of what that blossoming is all about. The metaphor. When the roots are strong and they're nurtured. Roots are strong and they're nurtured. That means it went through something. Grounding. It held on to something. And now it's at the place where the plant that was in the seed starts to blossom. And it aims for fruition of the desire. Here's the process again. Strong roots. Blossoms the fruit. It's still growing, but it aims at the fruition of the desire to be. It's becoming what its nature is. An apple tree is not going to ever bear oranges. I know they do a lot of stuff today with cross-contamination, all kind of craziness is actually going on here. So it used to be a time when you could say an apple tree is not going to grow oranges, but today you just never know because there's all kind of hybrids going on. You go into your grocery store and you check out you check out some of the organic vegetables that they actually have out there and fruits, and you see the size of the stuff. It's almost like you could tell it. That's another story in itself. All right. Here's the process. Set a clear, purpose-driven goal. Set clear, purpose-driven goals. Use your talents skills, and abilities to create value in the world, aligning your actions and your deepest desires. I'll say it to you one more time. The blossoming, the metaphor part, is when the roots are strong, the plant blossoms, and it aims for the fruition of its desire. The process, set clear, purpose-driven goals. Use your talent, skills, and abilities to create value in the world, aligning your actions with your deepest desires. What are you saying, Clyde? What I'm saying is get grounded, solid grounded, so that no matter what comes, adversity, opposition, challenge, confrontation, no matter what comes your way, you can withstand it. Because your roots are firmly planted in the ground. You know what that means? That means you've been through it for a period of time. If you got an idea, concept, or something that you want to create and you just want to run out there and do it, chances, I'm not going to say it won't work because anything is possible. But what I will say is, here's what people tend to say. I've been doing this for such a long time and I haven't reaped any benefit from it yet. Keep going, because your time hasn't happened yet. Your time will happen when the time is right for it to happen. There's something that you have not accomplished yet. I'll say for myself, listen, the amounts that I've lost, I never even can fathom the thought that I could walk away from the things that I've lost in this time of life for me. I'm like, how is that possible? But it's not the how it's possible, it's how I was able to sustain it and still be here to talk about it. Because let me tell you something, all right? The challenges, the controversies, the adversities, the oppositions is why I'm sitting here right now. I've gone through it and I figured out a formula. I figured out a way that helped me. And if you're like me and if I'm like you, the same thing that helped me can help you too. That's what this is all about. That's why we write books. That's why people sing songs, because it's their natural talent. They want to help you through your situation or circumstance through some type of art expression. They put some music to it. You hear a song, a melody, some binaural beats that open up the mind so that you can sit there and allow the information to sit into the subconscious part of the mind. Yeah, I just dropped something for some of y'all. Some of y'all got it, some of you didn't. I'll say it again. Binaural beats come along, that information opens up the subconscious part of the mind. Information sits and rests inside the problem question part of the brain, starts to solve it in the subconscious part of the mind, because this is an answering, seeking device that we actually have inside our head called the brain. When you really lose how to operate that thing and understand the process that it actually goes through to benefit you, by benefiting you, you benefit the world, because the greatest amongst you will be a servant. That's what it does. So with that being said, listen, it's all about the discovery and allowing yourself to grow through what you go through. And that's it. Yeah, it's not going to be comfortable. Yeah, it's going to be challenging. But when the blossoming comes of that fruit, and that seed that was a seed is now a tree, let's take it to you. The thing that you have in your heart that you feel the most for, that you keep nestled in the corner, that you don't tell anybody about, you don't share anything about that, that's where your greatest gift is. And if you haven't found it, that means you haven't sat still in silence long enough to hear it and to feel it and to understand it. My suggestion, silence, stillness, and solitude. You already know. You probably just haven't spent enough time with yourself to find out what's the thing that you just love to do. It gets you so excited. It wakes you up in the morning and it keeps you up at night. That's the thing. For some people, it's writing. For some people, it's storytelling. For some people, it's selling. For some people, it's being a mechanic. There's something about earlier on, the only thing I didn't like about mechanic work, working on cars, was the dirt, the grease. That stuff get underneath your nails and it's just so crazy. But something about fixing a car that just, it made me feel like, listen, first of all, I didn't have the money. So I always had to figure out, my father said, listen, you ain't gonna have enough money to fix these, to go out there and take your car to the repairman. So you better learn how to fix your car. That's the first thing he told me when I first bought my car. You better learn how to fix it. so I had to learn how to work on the engine. I had to learn all the parts of the car. because it wasn't always about being able, and especially then I'm buying cars. I wasn't, well, not today I can do it, but I wasn't able to do it back then. But I'm very humbled and thankful for it because I've really learned about the structure and mechanical elements of what a car actually does. Not only get you from point A to point B, but how it gets you there. So that was my thing. At the same time, your thing may be so, hey, whatever your thing is, it's the thing that gets you excited so much that you can do it all day. But you do it so good that you could take it out to the marketplace and be compensated for what your thing is. It's effortless for you to do. And you even get into a flow. When you get into that flow, when you're doing your thing, it's nothing. Just like you see these people skating and you see somebody coming down and they breaking ankles up all over the place and whatnot. It's like you just wish you could do that. That's their thing. What's your thing? I'm not talking about Jordan and all these other people, Kobe, God bless that. These people worked on their skill. They worked at it. Jordan, 1,000 shots back to back. Bruce Lee said, listen, he doesn't fear the man that kicks that 10,000 times. He fears the man that kicks one kick 10,000 times. One time, one kick 10,000 times. One style of kicking 10,000 times. That's the person that he's fearful of the most. Why? Because that person has mastered that kick. What are you mastering? Are you mastering doubt, fear, disbelief? Are you mastering who you truly are, the desires of your heart, the fulfillment of who you are that can impact this world in such a way, just doing the effortless thing that you do without even thinking about it? That's you. That's what happens when you go into that dark room. The outcome, achieving your goals and desires, not just for personal fulfillment, but also for the greater good, serving the world with your unique gift. Here's the thing about a gift. Your gift, you got to give it away so that it becomes a gift. Because if you're holding it, you're not serving anybody. Everybody, every single person came here has a gift. Everyone, no one is excluded. But it's up for you to discover your inner greatness, which is your gift. How are you going to do that? I just gave you the 5 steps. 1, shifting your identity. 2, dominate. 3, replenish. 4, subdue. 5 is desire fulfillment, blossoming. That's it. All right. That's what happens when you go into that dark room. And a dark room is any space or place where you've got to go from one level to the next level. So you dig down deep and then you grow to the top, just like a tree. And there's all kinds of symbolisms where the human essence is actually symbolic of a tree, where we have deeply embedded roots down into the ground. How do you know that you're just like a tree? Because you're still standing there after the adversity, challenge, confrontation, situation, and circumstances come to knock your behind down, but you're still standing there just like a tree does when the wind comes and blows, or a car comes and hits it, or something else comes to try to uproot it. It's still standing there. Especially those old, solid oak trees. Stand there no matter what. They just sitting there hanging out. Leaves come and go, but the oak tree still stands there because the roots are deeply embedded in the ground. Get grounded. When adversity, opposition, challenge, confrontation, situations, and circumstances come, know that you can sustain it because you're standing there, because you're deeply embedded into the earth. Ground. No fear shall come amongst me because I know what I'm standing on. And I know that there's something greater in me that's emerging out from the situations, circumstances, stress, strain, and struggles that I've been through. Why? Because I'm still standing. I said I'm still standing. I'm a living perpendicular. All right. I'm standing up straight, just like the tree. And I'm reaching up to the sky. I'm going for my dreams. I'm going for my desires of my heart. I'm going to serve because that's what's in me to do. See, it doesn't make a difference whether somebody else sees it, because there's somebody else that's waiting for what it is that I have, just like there's somebody else that's waiting for what it is that you have, whether or not you're a writer, a book author, or sitting back, you got stuff that you constantly talk about. You can sit here and help somebody else. If you're a coach, if you're a basketball player, whatever your thing is, you got it. And it doesn't make a difference your age. It's irrelevant about your age. That's up to you. And if you really want to know about your age and how to quantify and how to get that longevity of life, I got some stuff that'll help you with that too. That's the quantum body, physical alchemy, and coherence. We could talk about that on the next level. But my point to you is this. There's a process of transformation. And during that process of transformation, we grow through what we go through. And part of growing through what your stuff is, you're spending time by yourself. It's not anybody, there's no stadium of people clapping and applauding. They will clap and applaud for you after you blossom up. But even then, you still need time to grow. You still need time to grow into, because there's a transformation that has to happen. I'll say this. People want to be millionaires, billionaires, thousandaires. Master P said this: before you can be a millionaire, why don't you practice being a dollar-aire first? And then from a dollar-aire to 100-aire. And then from 100-aire to 1,000-aire. And then from 1,000-aire to 100,000. From 100,000 to 1,000,000. Practice that first. Why? Because each level has a different set of challenges. So again, no different than us. You know, the story that you're going to write starts with the first word. How are you going to write a book if you never take the time to sit down and write the first word and then commit to the process? You got to stay committed, and then consistency. All right. So again, just like what it is that we just spoke about, this dark room and coming out to the light from the dark room is part of the process. Okay. And I can't say it enough because people want to avoid being in the dark. Listen, the dark is where it all happens at. That's the formulation. That's the stuff. That's the fortifying. That's where everything happens underneath, down here. You know, if you don't have it together down here, trust me, when it comes up here, it's going to be a mess because you didn't take the time to grow through the mess, make a message from the mess, and let that message from the mess be your success story. That's what it's really all about. That's what it's coming to. I'm learning the same thing, and y'all will watch because y'all sitting here watching me grow, and you sitting here watching me stumble and fumble and sitting here waiting for me to fall and trip up and all kind of craziness. And I sit here and just laugh at it. You know why? Because I know what I'm working on. I know what I'm working on. You don't have to know, but I know what I'm working on. I know what's happening. I've seen the transformation. I've seen what's coming. I felt what's coming. I understand why I went through what I went through to get where it is that I'm going, so I can become who it is that I'm becoming, so I can do the 3 things that I need to do, so I can have the things that is that I truly desire to have in my life. I be, I do, I have. That's how it works. If you're not willing to be and you're not willing to do, you will never have. But if I'm willing to be, and if I'm willing to do 3 things that I know that I got to do before I can have what I want, and I can have whatever it is that I desire, as long as I follow that process. I just gave somebody something that made sense to somebody. Hopefully you wrote it down. If you didn't, you better rewind it and listen to it again. Be 3 do's. You can have everything you want for the rest of your life if you're willing to operate that. I'll talk about that one later on, all right? Don't you all forget, listen. This is all up to you. Really, seriously, all joking aside, it's all up to you. Who are you willing to be? What do you have to do? What do you get to do? And if you're willing to do those things, you can have whatever you desire to have because you fulfill the fulfillment. There's a fulfillment process here. Part of it is the identity. And like I said, I just gave you these 5 steps. I'm not going to sit here and give you all everything. You got to do some work. And the next thing is how bad do you want it? Because you know what? Here's a real deal. People don't value what they don't pay for. Really? Like you want everything for free? Okay. There are some things that's okay to get free. But if you're not willing to pay in yourself and invest in yourself, why should somebody else? You want somebody to buy your book, but you ain't buying nobody else's book? You want somebody to come and pay for your course, but you ain't willing to invest in nobody else's course? You want somebody to buy your song, but you ain't buying theirs? Check that out. You want some people to come and like my post, like my this, like my that, but you ain't liking theirs? I said be 3 do's, 1 have. Okay. We'll talk about it. All right. So I think I got you guys out of here kind of early today. Listen to part 1, follow up for part 2, and check this out. There's some stuff that's inside here. You may have to listen to this a couple of times. I might even listen to it a couple of times to tell you the truth. But at the same time, in the meantime, between time, listen, with this being said, I'll go over it for you one more time and I'll let you go ahead and go to bed or do whatever it is that you got to do, or get up and go in the morning, or go listen to your meditation, whatever the situation or circumstance is. One, shifting the identity. Shift your identity. Embrace the dark room. All right, because that's where your identity is going to be formed. Your identity become the next version of yourself. Two, dominate. Grow strong roots. All right. Three, replenish. All right, plain and simple. The next part, pruning process. That pruning process is serious. And then the last part, desire fulfillment, that's the blossoming. That's where you emerge up out of the ground. You just come spinning out. That Fibonacci sequence starts to come up. And you come up in that circular motion as your blade of grass takes nothing to come up out of the grass, but it comes up in due season. All right. So just like you, there's a process. There's a season and a reason for everything that goes on to your life. Operate your life and govern it according to the season that you're actually in. Know what season you're in and plant seeds accordingly. Seeds, oh, that's another story in itself. Look, with that being said, peace, blessings, prosperity, and abundance. Namaste. Enjoy the rest of your day. All right? One love to you all. I'm out. See you later on. Peace.